And then the last change is obviously to pinpoint it just for the R5 and R6 districts. And that's it, so it's not a big change, but it's a big impact.
That's what we're in the hearing.
Oh, I hereby open the public hearing. Is there anybody who wishes to be heard on this matter? Seeing none, I hereby close the public hearing. And probably actually have to move on to consideration.
Wait, we got citizens.
Oh,
Citizens be heard in the thing.
where did we? Oh, I see. Well, usually I like to keep the two things together. So we're gonna go right to 8 here. To consider approving the proposed ordinance.
I move to consider,
Could I suggest you move to approve or adopt instead of consider?
correct. I move to approve ordinance number 2080 to amend the zoning setbacks for on-grade patios in the R5 single-family residence district number 1 and R6 1 and 2 family residence district number 1.
Second.
Discussion, trustee Rosick.
So on the second page of the memo, I got confused. It says patios are structures. And then it says per this zoning 535-6.
That's the definition of structure.
It says if uncovered, shall not be considered structures. Decks, patios, driveways, parking slabs, and the like.
For the, you have to finish that sentence. For the purpose of calculating lot coverage.
Okay, so that's for lot coverage. That was my first question. Okay, and then, yeah, and then it says structures, as Shorewood's definition of structure states, it excludes, thus exempting them from meeting zoning setbacks, driveways, fences, concrete paths, and eaves. Is that currently, so,
That's right.
so it excludes them from zoning setbacks, is that right?
Right. It doesn't say patios.
Okay,
And I don't want to say that because it's not government. It's just R5 and R6.
oh, okay. And then, what I'm confused on is if we just, in our definition of decks and patios, would it be helpful to amend them to include the elevation? It talks about different, like, is it under 6 feet, 6 inches? No? I mean, it says it later in the ordinance, I just know if that helped.
No, I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay. And then, are we striking 5359 F3A and F2? So F2 and F3A?
3A, no more than 30% of any front yard. Is that what you're talking about? We wouldn't strike that.
No, yeah, F2 says decks shall not be located in the front yard or the side or rear setback of a lot.
Okay?
Because are we just saying they can be all the way up to the lot line, right?
No, I'm not saying that.
For patios?
You're talking about decks right now.
All right, let's go to 3. Patios may be located in the front yard or side yard only when constructed within the following
Yep,
parameters.
okay,
Okay, no more than 30% of the side yard may be covered by a patio.
okay.
Are we striking that?
No.
So it's still 30%?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what are we changing? I thought we could go to the,
I'm only talking about the rear and the interior side. That's what this code is changing,
this is side street, so it's just the interior side,
in the rear.
and everything else is in, okay.
Any other?
On F, patios shall not be located in the, should that be interior side?
Wait, which
Yep.
one are you reading? At what?
F,
On the
F,
bottom, okay.
F, 3F.
Patios should not be located inside or rear setback of the lot. Okay. Oh, we talked about when you use interior and or not, it doesn't make a difference. You can add it, but it doesn't make a difference.
Okay, it does.
Any other discussion? Yes.
I
I look forward to supporting this. I really appreciate the time that it took for everyone involved to review it, and it seems like it does add a quality of life and enjoyment. So I like all those things.
I know someone will be really happy because they're denied the Board of Appeals, and I just said, wait. Yeah, you go there. You go on.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. This will be a roll call vote.
So, trustee Amat. Trustee Bach.
Yes.
Trustee Long.
Yes.
Trustee McKay.
Yes.
Trustee Rosen.
Yes.
And trustee Zolman.
Aye. Don't forget. Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to, briefly before we lose,
I have more items.
you have more items? Okay, well, that's okay, since I started talking, I'm going to continue talking. Recognizing that this is the last meeting that we're privileged to be served by our planning director, Eric Allen, I would like to take a moment personally to recognize and thank you for your years of service to the village and wish you best in your new endeavor as well. I see that Ms. O'Malley, Tanya O'Malley, as clerk, is with us in our audience today, and extend the same thank you and best wishes to you. I think we as a community and certainly as a board are fortunate to be able to have staff such as the two of you to work with. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is citizens to be heard. This item is for matters not on the agenda. Discussion may follow comment on non-agenda items, or discussion and action may come at future meetings. Is there anybody who wishes to be heard on non-agenda items? Yes. It gets into the recording.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Stacy.
My name is Kathy Stokerbrand. I live at 4130 North Lake Drive. I've been in Shorewood for almost 20 years. In light of the accidental drowning of a 14-year-old boy in Lake Michigan on July 18, 2017, we are requesting that the Village of Shorewood reinstall the fences on the boundaries of Atwater Beach. The boy and his friends were at the beach, but then they left, going north over the public beach boundary and walking across private property to the jetty to our private beach. The boy jumped from the jetty into the lake and drowned. After being in place for decades, the fences were removed in 2009 as improvements began to Atwater Beach and the park. When the fence was in place, I am not aware that there were any drownings in Lake Michigan in the village, at least in recent memory. On July 18th, between 5:30 and 6 p.m., my husband noticed a man walking through our backyard toward the south side of the house and Lake Drive. Periodically, people will try to gain access to the street from the beach in this manner. We try to talk to them and remind them that they are on private property. We encourage them to go back to the public beach and exit as they arrive through Atwater Park. The man said he was sent up our stairs by a police officer who wanted the address of the property to provide other first responders so that they could better access the beach at this location. There was a report of a missing person in the lake. I immediately followed the man down to the beach and spoke with an officer. A couple of responders were already in the water at the jetty. A small group of boys were huddled on the beach. A woman was on a cell phone. I told the officer our address and asked if there was anything we could do. I mentioned the storm sewer culvert, which is enclosed by the jetty. You can't see it unless you go out on the outside and look in at it. I got towels for the boys, offered to help the woman who was trying to contact the mother of the missing boy. My husband and daughter directed responders from the street through the yard and to the stairs. I kept hoping the boy had become separated from the group and then he went back up through the park. Someone would call and say he's okay and this nightmare will end. I have been separated from my child a couple of times. It happens. Back on the beach, members of the dive rescue team started to come down the stairs with their diving gear, as other responders waited along the shore with a net to the north, walking through the water. There was a shout, the boy had been found. He was pulled on the jetty and the responders began to render aid. One of the responders approached the boys and told them they were doing all they could, trying to help their friend. He asked them to be patient and calm. The responders worked and worked and worked on the boy. I climbed up the stairs where two MTs waited at the top with a wheeled gurney. A few minutes later, one of them told me the boy could not be revived. The responders began to come back up the stairs. An ATV had been used to bring the body back to the top using the paved switchbacks at the public beach. I was told by a police officer that the boy could not swim. This was beyond the property owner's nightmare. Worst nightmare. It was a human tragedy. Sadly, right now, I can say it would be so easy for this tragic scene to play out again. We can all agree that various steps could have prevented the accidental drowning that day. We can also probably agree that we must be certain we are doing all we can as a village to prevent this from happening again. Reinstalling the fence is one action that would do this. Two things are certain. One of the reasons this tragedy happened was because the boys left the public beach. It is highly likely someone on the busy public beach would have been able to wade out or swim to save this child if the child had even started to struggle off of the beach, as he reportedly did after jumping off the jetty. Second, the responders had a more difficult time finding the scene of the drowning because it was on a private beach. The call came from Atwater, so the officers were scanning the public beach looking for the drowning situation, but it wasn't there. Since Atwater Beach has been improved and become so popular, the village needs to add features to increase public safety, which was a concern among my neighbors and myself when the fences were removed in 2009. It is obvious that the signs alone have not worked effectively. If you're not familiar with them, one threatens a civil fine or forfeiture for trespassing. The other two say, Atwater Beach ends here. Please respect your neighbors. It is so vague that it has no meaning. When efforts began to improve the public beach, my family and I supported them. I personally helped design and post signs for the fundraisers for the Friends of Atwater Beach. I still consider myself a friend of Atwater Beach. We continue to believe this public beach is an asset to the community, but it can be a dangerous place without the appropriate safety measures in place. Beach hazard statements are new this year, I believe, on some weather apps. They're very frequent, and rip currents are especially likely in the vicinity of the groins, which are also known as the jetties and the piers. This is from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration website. Because of its shape, Lake Michigan is especially vulnerable to rip currents, and so the village needs to respond to this additional danger. Clearly, the jetties pose a special cause of concern along the lakefront here. The DNR, in a 2011 memo to the village, supported fencing that would restrict access to the waterward portion of the groin due to the poor condition and potential threat to public health and safety. Obviously, fences work. They are efficient and effective. That's why our homes and schools and playgrounds often have them. If a child tells a parent, I'm going to Atwater Beach, shouldn't that parent be able to count on a definitive boundary on that public space that will make it less likely that their child will wander off to a private, secluded area with a dangerous waterfront? On July 18th, Atwater Beach had 3 elevated signs on metal posts marking its north boundary. People just walked by them, as these boys apparently did. The temporary traffic barricades that have been erected at Atwater Beach are a starting point. They make the boundary more visible. A second one on the north boundary would be even more helpful. As the beach attracts additional people, more beachgoers are crossing over to the private beaches. I saw 2 women on the private beach a few days after their drowning. I asked them if they knew they were on a private beach. They said they did not. They indicated they wanted to get away from the crowds and motioned to the public beach. The village has contracted for a security guard from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. through Labor Day. Hopefully this will help prevent any future incidents, at least during these hours. But how could this have changed the events of July 18? If the beach is really crowded, the security guard will be busy. If he happens to see children and or adults crossing under or over or around the temporary barricade, will the guard instruct beachgoers that they cannot use the private beach? Will she insist they come back to the public beach or only walk in the water, which the public has access to? Will the police be called if the beachgoers do not return or walk on the private beach? And of course, there are the hours before and after the security guard is working, unless we only open the public beach when we are financially able to provide security staffing. On the other hand, a fence is always there 24/7. And even with the added staff, A fence would help the security guard do his or her job even more effectively. The fence and the gate at the top of the block have helped with after-hour vandalism and littering. Now the village needs to act to make the beach secure at the bottom. This does not need to be an elaborate fence or gate. Snow fencing, which is already used around vegetation on the beach, would be an improvement. This concern for public safety is felt by more than a handful of people. Within the last 24 hours, more than 36 residents signed a petition supporting the reinstallation of the fences. Copies have been given to the deputy clerk. The police chief and interim director have told me that if it was their call, the fences would be installed immediately, but they need direction from the village board. I am not here to complain about the traffic, the noise, and the litter after a busy beach weekend. I am asking the village to take responsibility instead of pointing fingers at other governmental agencies. This is our park and it should be safe.
As many of you know, we have had quite a bit of contact, especially through our manager's office with the DNR.